Welcome to Light of Knowledge International. Light of knowledge is something that we have always heard about. Knowledge we often have, but sometimes we do not show enough light on it. So when somebody tells us something, when somebody gives us an advice, we suddenly realize that, oh yeah, I knew that, but for some reason I could not see it at all. Probably that is just the lack of light. Yet here we are today exploring our own inequalities, the inner light that we need to see what is the right knowledge. In today's episode, let us look upon freedom. Freedom is an idea that has inspired revolutions for centuries. Countries, people, communities, so many of them wanting freedom. That has given birth to new nations, new ideas, new constitutions and whatnot. Let us see what freedom actually means and how it affects our life. Today, we have Brother Michel from Serbia, and he is our resource. Brother Michel, welcome again to the show.
Yes, thanks a lot. It's my pleasure to be with you and to share some insight about values and virtue, and especially about freedom, obviously.
Yeah. So when we talk about freedom, as much as I have read and heard and have studied in school, we have so many revolutions that have happened, political, otherwise as well, just behind this one idea of the humankind wanting to be free, not being under the control of anybody else. Some kingdoms breaking away because they did not want to be under this king. Sometimes people not wanting to be under any king, wanting to become a republic. And this idea of democratic freedom, personal freedom, or communal freedom, there's so many aspects of freedom that we look upon, but the word is common, freedom. And it has always inspired me to think, why? Why really? What is it? Why does it draw so much of attention?
Very simple way. It's because, every one of us, have that faculty, to create our own thought and to follow our own thought by ourselves and take decision from your own thought and go ahead with that. And that is the natural expression of freedom, And if you can just look, a small baby, as soon as he can not even walk, but he's running everywhere,
Yeah.
So it means that he doesn't want to be in control, or he wants to discover, he go by himself, He has some inner power, to move around, and to feel secure to do that, So, and that is already the expression of freedom, because it's already there. Just the faculty that I can think by myself is the first expression of freedom.
The ability to think on my own. Many people would call it free will, yeah, if that is what freedom means. When I say that everybody wants freedom, everybody wants to be free, what does it actually mean to be free? Just taking away the bondages, is that freedom? So if I would want to rephrase it as free will, of wanting to do whatever I would like to do, and you said that it is the ability to think freely, but so many times that we see that there is freedom of thought, but there is no freedom of expression. I think about it, I can think anything, but probably I will not be able to do it because of the social structure, or because of the law, or because of my upbringing, or because of what my parents would say, or somebody would punish me if I would do this. So these things have always happened. Even though when you gave the example of the child that he would want to go around and do things, he or she might also be restricted by the parent to be careful, don't do this. So this also curtails freedom. So here the freedom is cut short, don't you think?
Yeah, obviously, in the example of the baby, because the parents are totally responsible for the baby, and they know that the baby is not aware of what's going on and the danger of everything, So obviously, at some point, as long as a person doesn't have education, he needs to be under the control, in some way, like anyway, the young student at school, they're under the control of the teacher or the principal, which in some way is good because it creates the limitation, because sometimes, and that is the point, the limitation where as long as it's right for you, is beneficial, and is giving you benefit, and that is participating to your freedom. But as soon as you break a limit which makes you in the field of something which will harm you, then in fact you are damaging your freedom, because when you damage yourself, you have less capacity to be and to do. And because for me, freedom is, let's say, to take an expression, to be on the open space, which means to have the capacity to do as much as you want, to express yourself as good as you can do it, And obviously, the simple analogy is the prisoner in jail, is not free because he has a limitation of 4 walls, so he has small space, for his own life, But when you speak about human being, when I say space, the space of expressing, the space of doing, the space of relating, the space of taking responsibility, of creating, as much more, I can relate to more people, as much more responsibility I can take, as much effort I can do with as much result I can have, as much experience about life I can get, that participate of the experience of freedom.
When you say this participation, there are so many aspects to it. When I look at freedom, many people, especially the young ones, they would say that we must be given total freedom. We must be given the right to do whatever we want. But that doesn't happen in action, isn't it? And most of the times it appears as an inhibition. As long as you are children, it's okay, but when you come to your later teenagers, when you become 16, 17 or something, there are often conflicts because of this freedom. Many people question that how much must we leave our kids to freedom? How much freedom should be given? And most often people think that if freedom is not given, you must take it.
Yeah, the thing is, again, it's like, I have an expression which says that anyone can never walk alone, and a value can never walk alone. So freedom alone never works. It has to be in the company of wisdom at least, and minimum. So then, and obviously, and that is why any person from babyhood, childhood, teenagehood, and adult, has to go through a process of education to understand, what is right, what is correct, so that, because as long as you do something which is right, no one can do something against you. No one can stop you, So I have an expression which say, no one can stop peace,
Yeah.
Because peace is acceptable for everyone, by everyone. Peace is part of the law. So as long as, you express something which is part of the law, which is the understanding of how to behave in life. But obviously, for me as a spiritual person, part of the law, which means the universal value. As long as I use the universal value, no one can stop me. So I can do as much as I want. And then I can be totally free, And if someone can stop me, I can tolerate it, manage it, and move ahead of it, and move ahead. So yes, so I can always express my freedom because I know it doesn't have the right to do something. Because I know my right, as long as I express my universal value, which give my freedom, this is my right. I have my right with me, and I can keep and I can use my right for keeping my freedom.
Most often the image that we show of freedom is a bird flying out of the cage. It is a popular image that comes up to the mind whenever people talk about freedom, that the bird is now free. It no longer has the cage. Everybody desires this freedom. Everybody, whether somebody is an adult who is in a marriage, or children who are at home, or students in universities, they just want to break free of bondages. So most often people think that freedom actually means the freedom from bondage. And if it is true, then what are these bondages? What are these inhibitions?
Yeah, you touch exactly the heart of the subject, you know, because before to reach freedom, you have to liberate yourself. Because we are not aware, but we are not so free up to now. And we have so many bondage. You know, in a very simple way, what is the most popular expression which shows that people are not free and have a bondage? You know, is, I'm sorry, I don't have time. It means I am in bondage of time. Means, I am the slave of time, you know, and I'm running after time, you know. So just that is showing me that what does it showing me, you know, and or I can interpret it. It means that person hasn't understood how to manage time, to respect time, or to use time for the best. And because when you don't know how to manage time for the best, you know, then obviously you have wasting time, and when you waste something, you miss it, you know, and then you are in the means of having more, and you need that, you know. And you know, it's like when I have money, but I misuse my money, so I need money, and then I become the slave of money. But you know, I mean, India is the best country in the world. You know, people, you know, with just few rupee can live, with 1 or 2 rupee can live every day with that, you know. But, you know, you take any French person, you know, and you give $10 and say, but that's not enough, you know, for my day, you know. So, you see, so when it's the art of knowing how to use everything. So, again, and it starts with the time, obviously, but we have the bondage of, you know, our habit. You know, I create a habit, and it becomes an addiction, and obviously, and then, you know, I'm in bondage. I'm the slave of my addiction. You know, means I cannot function in another way than just that way. You know, and so because, for example, I have the addiction of drinking, so I go to the bar, I meet the same people, you know, same situation more or less, you know, same type of conversation, you know. Okay, you know, so totally in bondage, no newness into that situation, you know.
Yeah.
So, and you have the bondage of your defect, your weakness. You have the bondage, obviously, in spiritual level of your own body. Means you have a very limited vision of yourself, limited understanding about you, who you are. And because, for example, if I say I'm French, you know, I will, you know, I'm fitting perfectly when I'm in France, but as soon as, you know, you take me and put me anywhere else, as a French person, I don't fit. And so I'm in trouble, you know. Yeah. So that is why I'm, to think, you know, as my bodily being perception, you know, or identity, you know, it creates a limitation. Everything which creates a limitation is going against your freedom. It creates a level of bondage, you know, as well. So then you have the bondage of money. People run about money, you know, they're slave of money because, you know, and even the expression, I have to earn money, I have to earn my life by working and earning money, you know. Is that really life to earn money? Is that just that, you know? I mean, it should not be, you know. I should not even think about money. I should just be, and everything will be there, you know, because if I'm good, you know, I mean, everyone will be happy with me and everyone will cooperate with me, you know. So why should, you know, I have my very personal expression. I say, instead of running after money, let money run after you.
But many people do not know how to do that.
Because it's an art. It's the art of, it's to reverse the process. And instead of working to have, let me love myself, you know, and let me be the best of myself, so that as I am the best of myself, you know, I can enrich every moment. And if you enrich every moment, every person, every situation, obviously life, people, society will take care of you. You know, that's, you know, I mean, Gandhi was not, at some point was no more working, you know, but he has, you know, everyone following, and whatever he needs, you know, everyone was ready to give to him, you know. So, you know, so when you are such charismatic person, you know, and you are charismatic when you don't think about money, but when you think about really the welfare of human being, you know, the goodness of their life, you know, justice or goodness or freedom or peace or, you know, of quality of life, you know. So, yes, then people love you so much, that they are ready to give you everything because they know you are the right person. I mean, it's like the guru in India in some way, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so many bondage, you have bondage of relationship, the bondage of, again, habits. I mean, you have, quite a lot of bondage like that, Yeah. The bondage of a culture, a tradition, a belief system. I cannot believe anything else because, it's loud that I've been brought up like that and I should not change, the fear of it,
Yeah.
So, I know, okay. So, yeah.
So many people have those cultural boundaries that they do not want to cross, or they're just afraid, or they just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, there is the fears. They don't know to do it. They don't know what else. And I feel secure. It's like when you live with your habit, with your belief system. It's my security. I create my limitation. And I'm fine. But it's what we call the comfort zone. You can say a prisoner is in comfort zone in jail, as well, because no one is coming to attacking. Anyway, but that is maybe another story as well,
Yeah.
But but comfort zones is never really the full expression of freedom. It's just a small, the slightest expression of freedom,
True.
It's when I break my limitation, and that is why you use the example of the bird leaving the cage, it means in leaving some limited space to enter in the unlimited, but he has to enter with the knowledge, with the wisdom, with the understanding, knowing what he can do so that he can preserve his life as well, And that is why people doesn't want to go into the unlimited and why people prefer to remain in the bondage. And some people, create consciously their own bondage because they know that that's my security, that's my comfort zone. I don't want to move away from that because they don't feel self-confident, they have the fear, they don't want to take risk, they don't have the courage, and so because many parameters missing, missing factor. So they say, better to stay here in my chair, I'm very good, I have my TV, I have my horse, my cup of tea is there, it's all fine, In 2 years I will be retired, don't ask me nothing else, it's okay for me,
True. Like you were saying that these are the boundaries and bondages that people have and the challenges that they face, and sometimes they create this comfort zone. But there are people who have this ability to break free as well, to get out of that cage. This comes from a very practical perspective when people come to workplaces, when we work with some other people, especially people would have bosses everywhere. And at times we feel that we do not have the freedom to do what we want to do, especially in terms of professional work. And at that time we don't know what are the limits to our freedoms, how much can we do, how much can we break away. So it is also a question that would mean that, am I restricting myself? There is so much that I could accomplish, but my boss doesn't understand me, or maybe people around me don't understand me. Probably they do not give me that time and space or freedom to pursue what I want to do.
Yeah, that's clear. According to the company, to the boss, your chief, and a person in a company, in a job, has to always know to which point he can bring his responsibility to do a job, and even if he can do more, he knows that he will not be accepted, so he has to control himself. Otherwise, he will be fired out, So if he wants to keep a job, he has to remain in that limitation. But then, if he really, then he can work outside by himself of the job and do something about it, and develop something, and then whatever, create his own company or something like that, But obviously, you have to understand the context, the circumstance, and to which extent you can do it, But for me, the thing is, even in my personal life, because obviously I love freedom. Freedom is my best quality, and I like to do not whatever I want, but whatever is meaningful to do, whatever is correct, whatever is the most suitable to do, And So if I know that something is good, it's suitable, is meaningful, makes sense, let me inform, not let me ask the permission, but let me give the information about what I am doing, and let give me the report of what I'm doing, so they know exactly what I'm doing. I don't hide anything. Everything is clear, and then if they are mature people, they will understand that there is nothing wrong. It's good for the person. It's good for a company. So yes, let him go ahead with that. And we know him. We know that he's a responsible person. He will care about the job, So, but the information, that is why sometimes, when we think about freedom, I think about independence, isolation, just me, forget the others, and only me exist. And that is the wrong way of freedom as well, because I'm part of the society. So society should always knows about what I am doing, so that as they know about what I'm doing, they feel okay with me, and then they leave me in peace, and they leave me my freedom to do it, because they know me and they respect me, and they have confidence in me. So giving the information is as much is the balance with your freedom, so that you can keep on with your freedom. Otherwise, you want to do something with your freedom, you don't give the information, and people with their ego or with their normality or their conformisms or with their restriction or their limitation or with their ego, say, no way, full stop, you are not good, whatever, and then after it's very difficult to keep on again, to move on again. So it's good when you start something new, small step, start to give the information. So as you give the information, the other one start to understand that someone is free, is moving, but we know him, and I want to keep a relationship with that one because he's a good one, I don't want to lose him, and he brings something good for a company, so better to leave it that freedom, and you keep on informing, and as you keep informing, then you become almost totally free, but still fulfilling all your responsibility. And as people know that you fulfill all your responsibility is going on perfectly well, and you give the information, I never see a reason why, except the ego means he's become too good, better than me, obviously. Then obviously they can stop you, but otherwise, yes, if your boss, for example, if let's pick like that, if your boss is goodwill, good wish, open, and understand that his company is so important, and you are the element which can enrich your company, let me keep that one, because anyway, I'm not even in a bondage of a person and place, a situation as well, I mean, there is many other company, maybe there is many other big boss which won't say, I would like to have you so much, and today, with this world competition, of, Facebook, and they want to have the best people, which the most intellectual power, to have, and they're ready to pay so much and to make them move from their old company to their new company.
Michel, that alters the idea of freedom so much from what people actually think freedom is. So it just does not mean that you can do whatever you want, but it is about having this inner thought, inner freedom that yes, you can do whatever you want, but at the same time, you are responsible. You hold something that is necessary for other people to know about it. So it is a beautiful way of understanding that freedom does not mean that I could go on doing whatever I want, but at the same time, as a social being, I hold that responsibility that I have on myself, and I take responsibility of my actions is the true freedom. Thank you so much for giving those insights on freedom today, and I'm pretty sure that our audience would also have this insight.
It was a pleasure to express me with total freedom with you.
I'm glad that you could do that. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing your insights. Friends, that was Light of Knowledge today, and we had a wonderful free episode. And as much as I say the freedom of expression, if that is taken away, then how would you express your freedom? And today we've had Brother Michel with us, and he shared his insights freely, and that free flow would have inspired you to the real freedom as well. Thank you very much for being with us on the show. We'll see you again. Till then, take care.